Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and man, we got a big show for you today. It is a Monday. We're ready to rock, and a lot of time we have Lathan on Monday. Lathan's our dude, but you know what? We're trying to branch out a little bit. Want to get a guy from the other side of the ball, and a guy who I really enjoy. Fun dude, smart guy, and did a lot this year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. We're bringing our guy, Mr. Donovan Jackson. Donnie, back down in Texas, hanging out. I mean, how's everything been here the last couple months?
Man, everything's been moving fast these last couple months, man. But it's a dream come true. You know, you work your tail off for some of these moments, so you can only smile when you go through it.
Donnie, so gas station ready, Waffle House ready. I know that you're always ready. Right now, if you're going to the Waffle House, what are you ordering?
If I go to the Waffle House right now, I get the sausage hash brown bowl. I get that, then I get a chocolate chip waffle, and I get another side of hash browns covered and chunked.
Nice. OKG. I mean, he already knows all the vernacular of a Waffle House.
What does covered and chunked mean if you're not someone that's familiar with the Waffle House, lingo?
I could be wrong, but that's just covered with cheese and chunked with the diced ham.
Okay.
That sounds amazing. Sounds delicious. How was your combine training? Like, you're getting gas station ready, but you also got to get, draft ready. How was that entire process for you?
Yeah, it was certainly different because you're not quite trying to get stronger. You're trying to get more explosive, faster, and everything in between. So we were lifting. I was training out in Southern California, Orange County, and I was out there with some of the other guys. I was out there with Jack, JT, and Ty. So there's some of the guys I knew there, but we had on a pretty strict diet of just a complete meal, and out there training, lifting, trying to do everything we can so we're able to run fast and be explosive when our number's called.
So what was it like training with guys on your team? Because most of the time you go out there and it's just kind of you and a bunch of guys. You kind of meet some people, make some friends along the way. But they always say, got a lot of guys in the NFL, and I don't know if you encountered this. They always say Ohio State guys are a little different. They're always hanging together, and you were out there with those guys. So what was that interaction like with them and kind of with everybody else?
It was really cool. One, because you could skip the awkward, getting to know you phase. I just spent 4 years with these guys. I know everything about them, probably a little more than I would like to know about them. But it was cool. For the first couple of weeks, man, I'd hang out with Ty, JT, and Jack. And then when we would be hungry, man, me and JT kind of had the same schedule. So me and JT would go out and eat together all the time, and eventually led us to bonding with other linemen. Because, with linemen now, if you eat together, you're basically brothers. So other linemen would be like, hey, where y'all going? We're going to go eat. And so that's how I started becoming friends with other guys, because we just go out and eat together.
Yeah, sharing some food, man, brings it all together. So tell us about how you feel the process went for you. How do you feel that you set yourself up? And what does a team that Donovan Jackson wants to go play for, what do they embody?
I mean, for everybody's process is different, but me personally, I would say it's been pretty nice, really. I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of teams. How I played on the field this past season certainly helped my case. But, I feel like I'm pretty strong, very, very smart guy. So that's definitely helped me a whole lot. And then, from what I realize, it's a lot more than just combine pro day than you're drafted. There's so much that goes on in between, whether it be Zoom calls, 30 visits, private workouts, everything of the sort. So you're constantly doing something up until the draft. And for me, it's always nice to have interest in teams. That means, you did something the right way, and you're setting yourself up for success. But I mean, it's been busy for sure. I mean, I've flown all the way across the country for some of these visits. I had a couple of private workouts, but I'm almost done. I think I have one more Zoom left with the team, and then I'm draft day. But for me, what a team I want to embody is a team that something that I bring is just physicality and toughness. If Coach Mick always says you got to pack your toughness, if there's a team that abides by those rules, then I'll fit right in.
So you played your whole career at guard at Ohio State, and then last year, obviously, Josh goes down. You've got to kick out and play tackle. Your You're playing Penn State. You're going against elite speed out there. What was that like going into that game for you?
Yeah, so I was told I was playing tackle Sunday after the Nebraska game. And so I had basically 2 padded practice days to learn how to play tackle. And I feel like people don't realize like guard and tackle they're different positions for a reason. Like it's a whole nother world. Basically, you're going against a different rusher. Like at guard, you're fighting in a phone booth. At tackle, you're out on the island, and you gotta go against a guy who's a much better athlete than you. And you're going backwards while they're going forwards. You gotta stop the momentum. And so it was certainly a learning curve. But I practice against one of the best edge rushers in the country every day. So like before practice, after practice, I was getting extra work in, whether it be with Jack, JT, CJ Hicks, Arvell. I had Sonny rush me a few times, just trying to get a different look of different guys, just trying to get comfortable in my stance. And then obviously going into Penn State, that place is known to be loud and it lives up to it. So we're on silent count. So I had to, get used to looking in at the ball, then setting out while not really looking at the rusher. So it was certainly a learning curve. There's a whole lot to do, but I told myself that going into that game that I'm going to hold my own. I'm not going to use the excuse of, like he's playing a new position, like cut him some slack. Like, no, I'm going to go in there and play the best of my ability. And so went in there, did what I could, learned from it, and then from there just kept growing.
Hey, what was the hardest thing of that? Right, so you go in there and you're like you got to make a run, like you got to go. What was that hardest thing that you had to do, like kicking out and moving out there, while still being the leader of the offensive line, by the way?
Yeah, I would say the hardest thing was having to find my stance. At guard, your stance is very almost like parallel to your feet. But
Yep.
tackle, you have to obviously drop that leg back, but you can't have a giant tail of run or pass. But for the first couple of weeks, like honestly, I didn't care. I was like, if it's a pass play, I'm going to drop that leg back and I'm going to get out of my stance. Like we have great wideouts, like they're going to get open regardless. So like the D line pointing up in the air, try to signal to the DBs like, hey, it's a pass, isn't really going to affect us, at least in the stretch of games we were in. But once we got to the playoffs and the back end of the season, Coach Frier was like, hey, like you got to find an even stance that you're comfortable in. And so it took a whole lot of like workshopping, kind of a trial and error, trying to find a stance where I could run and pass and be balanced at the same time.
Describe to us, you talked about that Penn State game, and obviously you'd played there before. You knew what you were getting into. They go up 10-0. I mean, Will throws the pick six. I'm like, oh, goodness. I'm like, we're going to find out what this team's made of right now. You get out there in the last 5 minutes driving off the goal line. Describe to us the emotion, what's going on, the conversation of ending a game like that. I tell people scoring a touchdown to win isn't the best. Kneeing it out on somebody is. And in that last 5-minute drive, there was an offensive line statement, I think. What was that like for you guys?
Yeah, I remember coming off the sideline, Coach Day, Coach Fry, Will, even Coach Kelly on the headset, they were kind of like, hey, like, y'all need to set the tone. Like, I believe, like, our feet were in our own paint, and we were running QB sneak first play of the drive. So they're like, hey, like, we got to get one first down. Like, we always talk about getting the first down and rolling from there. And so we weren't really focused on, scoring. We were more focused on, hey, get the first down. We'll figure out where we're at from there. And so I think in the QB sneak, we gained like 5-6 yards. And so after that point, we're like, oh yeah, we got this. Like once we like kind of dug the ball out, we were kind of like, yeah, we're fine. And so we just had that mentality, that mindset of that as an offensive line, like we're gonna go out there and win this game. Like injuries, whatever, all that, like it doesn't matter. Like we got to go out there and win. And so we knew we had favorable matchups up front. I believe on Penn State's D line, their heaviest guy was, I want to say, like 305. And so we like, they're very athletic, very like up the field penetrate style of defense. So we're like, if we can, get our hands on these guys and get our cleats in the ground, like we can move them. And so we were just running inside zone. Once they stack the box, run outside of it. And so we're trying to keep them on their toes. We had Quinshon and Trey and Will dealing in the backfield, trying to give them almost a triple threat look that they couldn't really tell where the ball was going. So we were giving them looks, giving them obviously talented guys with the balls in their hands. So trying to get the ball downfield.
Those guys do a great job with balls in their hand. Hey, here's the deal. Coach Fry, like, talk about, I mean, hell, man, you guys had heard so much crap all season. Tell everybody how instrumental Coach Fry was when Josh Simmons goes down and then Seth goes down and then you kick out, and you got some three
Zen
young guys.
Zen went down. I mean,
Zen went down. Exactly. Zen went down. And then now you got to go there on a Sunday. Tell everybody what he actually did for the offensive line group that nobody knows about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he doesn't. I feel like he'll never will get the credit that he deserves with our success we had in the season. You know, he was dealt probably the worst hand possible. Like, we were playing our 9th and 10th guy that had never started games before. So oftentimes he wouldn't go back to his home. Like, he'd sleep at the Woody, making cut-ups, making film, trying to get the proper drills right, trying to make sure he hits every single version of learning, whether you're visual, audible, anything like that. He's trying to make sure everyone's on the same page. Like, he would come in in like 3 hours of sleep, 15 cups of coffee deep, wearing the same sweatsuit he wore the day before, like trying everything in his power to make sure that we were successful. Like, I feel like a lot of coaches would have just thrown in the towel. Like, man, like, people understand, like, these aren't like the guys the starting 5 I had out there. Excuse me. But like, he fought to the very end, and like, he believed in us the whole time. Like, even though like a lot of people were on us, a lot of people were doubting us. I believe that when we were selected for the playoffs, like, even the announcers were like, oh man, like, I hope they don't have a home game. That O-line was terrible. Like, he was on us the whole time, keeping us accountable, making sure, like, hey, like, the only people who understand what's happening are the people in this room. Like, don't like take in outside noise. Like, we got this. I believe in y'all. Like, we're gonna keep getting this right. Or we're gonna keep doing it till we get it right. So, you know, I have all the love in the world for Coach Frier. He did everything in his power to make sure we were successful.
Who's the offensive line notoriously, Donovan? I mean, it's a tight group. Like you said, you eat together, and then all of a sudden everybody's brothers. But it's usually a group that's got a lot of hijinks and a lot of nonsense that's going on. I mean, who's the biggest joker in the room? I mean, is that you, or are we going to give that crown to someone else?
Not saying myself, I would have to give it to Carson Hinsman.
Really?
Yeah, even now, he'll still say, he'll text me funny things. But I would say in the O-line room, like, the center, you're the brains of the operation. But he knew when to keep it light. He knew when to joke with guys. You know, like, we're, especially offensive line, when you're under all this like stress, like if you do one thing wrong, the play's not going to work. So you're under all this like anxiety, everything like that. But he knows when to joke and make sure guys are light. So we're in practice, like, we're locked in, but we're not like overly too serious.
Did you get a chance, like, when he came in, because he came in for you basically when you kicked out, he starts playing guard, advice, conversations, you know, because you guys are playing beside each other, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Seth's laying down, face down, blowing his Achilles out, and then he's got to go to center, and you're the veteran on that group. I mean, how did you help steady that with him?
With Carson, it was easy because he started 11 games the year before. It was more like we'd already had experience double teaming together, me at guard, him at center. And so that aspect never really left. It was more of giving him more tips of how to set on a 3-tech. Because at center, you know, you're either setting on the shade, a guy who's on your body, or you're setting on the 3-tech looping around, but you usually have guard help. So he never really had to set on a 3-tech by himself before. But it wasn't just me. Like, we had great coaches, Coach Drevno, Coach Frier, Coach Salini. So they all helped as well. But that's really the only thing I had to help him with. Like, he already came in with a great game plan of how he was going to attack the 3-techs of the teams we played. He was just kind of asking for confirmation. And me and him, we'd watch film together all the time, whether it be, you know, Coach Frier held meetings at 6:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And obviously we had our 2:30 right before practice. But we would do everything we could to make sure we were on the same page. Because obviously it wasn't just me playing out of position. You know, he was playing a new position as well. So we both had to get on the same page because obviously we still had more games to play.
Hey, I just love this. I'm looking at the chat. People were talking mad crap about him, and guess what? They apologize, and rightfully so. Good for everybody that's out there for apologizing. Hey, let's talk about Josh Frier, another guy. I mean, honestly, you know, kind of like, you know, he's soft because he's not the one that had to change positions. He just always played right tackle. So he really just didn't add that much value. I'm totally kidding. Give us a nugget about Josh, you know, because like I absolutely love his demeanor, his personality. How vital was he to the success of that team, being another senior with you, been there a long time, started a lot of games? Tell us about that dude, man.
Yeah, Frier is the definition of grit and grind, in my opinion. Yeah. Like he got out the mud and he made he's a grimy guy. Then you can tell by the way he plays. Like
he looks grimy.
Yeah, he looks grimy, man. Like he does everything he can to make sure the play's successful. And in terms of just a leader, he's a vocal leader. Like he'll call guys out, he'll get in your face, and he'll make sure you know about it, that you're not doing the right thing. And so he's one of those guys on the team who are instrumental in how we played in the postseason. Because going into it, like we had a lot of leaders step up, and he was definitely one of those guys that made sure guys were on the right track. And he didn't even not only the players, he called out coaches too. Like he made sure everyone was on their stuff to make sure.
That's my guy, man. I love that. Mm-hmm. Call him out, man. It's your season, right? Like coach me. You know?
That's so Don, we know everybody's talked, like a lot of guys have talked about, that the meeting that happened before the Tennessee game after the team up north. And is that some of the stuff that you were talking about right there with that, with the calling out and like in a positive way, but like the accountability piece to make sure that everybody's doing it? You were one of the leaders. He's one of the leaders. You guys have been through a lot together. Looking back on that now, like, did you have a sense of where that thing was going to go if you could get it together?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, we were still the most talented team. We just had to have that killer mentality. And I feel like coming out of that meeting, it was more of more of pride. We were like, no one's going to beat us. And that was the mentality. I think Lathan was a huge important part of that, because one of his work week done speeches he kind of laid out the trajectory of the playoffs. We're like, hey, we're going to beat Tennessee. We're going to go out west. We're going to go to Texas, and then we're going to win a national championship. It was like, y'all better start acting like we're a national championship winning team or get out. And that was basically his message, like probably the week out of the Tennessee game. And so that kind of set the tone of like what the mentality was going to be like on the team. So yeah, the meeting helped. It wasn't really much of a negative aspect. Just guys were getting called out because guys needed answers. Guys needed to be like, why aren't you playing at the standard that we need you to play at? And so guys had to answer for what they were doing. And after that, guys got in the lab, guys got better, and we improved off of that.
Hey, I'm going to ask you this because it's going to be something similar to this in the NFL when you go through, because like if you guys look at your roster, right, like everybody out there is like, oh, this is that type of team. But it took 12 games before you kind of figured out what it is that you got, and that when you got your mindset right and preparation right and like in the confidence that we can do this together, boom, 4 special games happen, right? It's not necessarily why did it take so long, but the question really is, how do you get that to start faster? Because in the NFL, like college, you got new guys coming in all the time, but you're also going to have some veteran old heads that have been there for a while. How do you get everybody on that same page, Donnie, especially when you're coming in as a rookie? And I respect you as a man, the way you handle your business. How do you see that happening going in now that you take your next step into the NFL?
Yeah, I would say pertaining to our season, I would say that at the beginning of the year, we were a heavy, duo inside zone team, and we were really good at it. Like we rushed for 200 plus on Iowa, and we rushed really, we rushed really good up until the injury started. And so you got to know, as a zone scheme, it's all about timing. Like my tackle has to know when I'm going to initiate the backside double, and then I got to know when the center's the center's feet to get in the block so we can get movement. With guys dropping out, everyone's off time now. So like I had to get used to having, because we had the guard rotation. So I had Sareveld, I had Luke, I had all those guys, but I had to get used to the timing of it all. Yeah. And so zone's hard when you have guys rotating in and out. I'm not saying it's impossible, but we were just on different timing. So in the playoffs, we went to gap scheme, and gap scheme's easy. If he's in your gap, you block the guy in your gap. If he's not in your gap, you double team the guy off your gap to the guy in your gap. And so it was kind of a seamless transition of like, hey, like we don't have to be on the same timing. We just got to know that, hey, if there's a guy in your gap, you block him, you run off the ball. That was Coach Frier's emphasis, like no more of the fancy footwork, whatever, double team, whatever, run off the ball and put your screws of your helmet on the screws of his helmet. And so, it's just kind of the mentality of you got to do your job. And so I feel like that's going to transition to the next level is like, no matter what happens, you have to do your job at a very high level.
Absolutely. All right. Before we get you out of here, Don, we appreciate all the time. I mean, what is Donovan Jackson doing for his free time? Like, what are we doing when we're not sitting there? I know all we do is lift weights, eat, and watch film and football. But like when we get that little slice outside of there, Donnie, what are we getting into?
Man, the very limited free time I get if I'm not, I mean, I might lift weights in my free time, but
See, that's now you're a meathead. That's
yeah.
perfect. But when your recreation becomes something that you would be doing anyway, that's perfect.
I mean, I'll say I was a huge movie guy growing up. I was huge into comic books, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, everything like that. So whenever there's a movie out, or even if there's not a movie out, I have almost every streaming service out there. So I might sit down and watch a movie and try to take my mind off of football. But man, like it takes up, y'all know, it takes up so much of your life.
Yeah.
And like I might go out and go fishing. My dad and we went fly fishing about a little bit ago. Definitely want to do that again, hopefully in the right attire this time, not just shirt and shorts. That was but yeah, I mean, other than that, it's all ball, baby.
I love it,
That's
man.
awesome.
We appreciate it, Donovan. Enjoy it. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the draft. And looking forward to the end of this week and seeing where you're going to be playing next year.
Thank you, guys.
The best, man.
My
Our guy,
man.
Donovan Jackson. I said, Shakes, he reminds me so much of Nick Mangold when we talk to him. Just kind of like what he's into, how he's cerebral, all that stuff.
He is.
We'll get into that here in a second. But first, I want to tell you, parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own unique 3D smile. They print that thing to your own grill, so it's going to fit for more protection, better performance, max comfort, clear communication. Focus on the game, not on the gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. We started a little bit late today. I'll let you know why, and we'll talk a little bit more about Donovan Jackson coming up next. Thing I can ever do for you. Gosh, one of my favorites, Donovan Jackson. Love that.
Look at him.
Like,
Look at him.
He's I mean, he reminds me so much of Nick Mangold, who we played with. He's got the long hair, but just like how he approaches life, this is what we had to do, and this is what we had to do. Like very cerebral with everything. With all that. So it's awesome with it. A little bit late, Slaves. We had some recruiting meetings. So today is starting finals week over at Ohio State. So I'm administering some exams and then my business class. And then I double with that. I do some of the football recruiting. When you want to talk about the business school, I'll come in and we'll talk a little bit about that. So we had some guys coming through and, when they start asking questions and the parents are asking questions, like, I'm not just gonna be like, hey, deuces, I thought we'd be good. But I'll be honest with you right now, bud. I walked out of WrestleMania last night at, I don't know what time that was, 8:15, getting in the car, got a little bit to eat, went to the hotel with my son and my buddy. The next thing you know, I'm at the airport loading up at about 10:30 and taking a red eye from Las Vegas to Atlanta, landing at 6:30, getting on a flight there at about 7:30, flying back to Columbus to land at 8:45 to drive straight to the Fisher College of Business and administer a final before heading over to the Woody. Thankfully, I had enough time, Schlegs. Everyone got done with the final pretty quick. I was able to get a good workout in. And
good for you.
Oh, I was pouring sweat. I was hemorrhaging sweat from just the meat that I had been eating and the drinks and everything at WrestleMania. I mean, it was great. My little dude loved it because Cena won, the Iron Claw, but Cena won. And so he was super juiced, breaking Ric Flair's record for now the 17-time undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, John Cena, no longer owned by Ric Flair, who had it for 16 when they were tied together.
Amazing. I'm so happy you had a good time. Caleb had a good time. That's what, hey, making memories, Bob.
It was.
Yeah.
Listen, we went to SmackDown on Friday. Saturday was great. We went and hung out at the pool all day. We were supposed to have a big dinner Saturday night, and we were at the pool all day, hanging out, having a couple drinks. Not Caleb; he's just swimming around. And then I'm like, "Hey, we'll go up like 4:30. We'll take a nap. We got dinner at 8." You got to remember, like 8 o'clock there is 11 o'clock here. I mean, we were waking up so crazy early, so we went down, took a nap at 5. Next thing you know, Schlegs, I didn't set my alarm because I go 3 hours. I mean, I'm going to wake up. So next thing I know, it's 1:30 in the morning. And my Caleb's sleeping, my buddy's sleeping. So we slept till like 6 o'clock the next day. I was like, man, I got 13 hours of sleep. I needed every last drop of that because I was sleeping on a plane today heading here. So needed all of that stuff to get there. Yeah. Why don't we throw this up, Pat? Like the Caleb's reaction. This is my son's reaction with John Cena right here for him when he won the belt. It was pretty great. Yeah. I mean, he was so stoked. Look at that. He's got a Cena shirt on, Schlegs. I mean, he had a Cena like some sort of Cena bobblehead. Some of Pat's dudes had all this stuff there. Like, he's like, dude, your guy will love this. He has one of the big title belts too. But man, he was he doesn't care that Cena's the heel. I go, he's all in, dude. You can't. I told Pat, I'm like, he's like, even though he's the heel, I'm like, dude, Cena people are crazy loyal. He wouldn't care if John Cena pulled out a gun and shot the dude and just laid on him, and that was the pin. That would have been fine for him.
Win. And then you take that, making memories. I want you to go into what you're talking to these parents about, Bob, because you're coming in and you did a finance class at the Fisher College of Business. And then you're also dealing with a recruit at Ohio State. What are the questions that they're asking about their young people?
Yeah, so the parents, it was awesome because they were talking. The parents were talking a little bit about, well, let's talk like life after football. What does that look like? And I'm like, I'm business partners with some of my teammates. I go, there's guys who I played with here who never really played and didn't really play a lot at Ohio State. Maybe, started some special teams. I go, they got great jobs. They got great careers. They've got great lives because of being a Buckeye. Now, you've got to be a person who's willing to work. Yeah. But playing at Ohio State will allow you to meet everybody that you need to meet. And then what you choose to do with those opportunities, well, that's going to be up to you. And trying to talk about that. I was like, the business school helped prepare you here. And he asked us, he's like, is it hard? He goes, a lot of places we go, people talk about, and the players like, you can't do it. I go, Cody Simon majored in finance. He's defensive captain, defensive MVP of the national championship game. I'm like, you can do it. I did it. I've had friends that have done it. Am I going to tell you it's easy? No. I'm going to say there's 3 or 4 classes that are pretty tough. They're going to try to weed you out, just like anything in life. But you tell me anything in your life that you've accomplished that's been worth something that was easy. So I go, it's not the hardest thing in the world. I go, I had the same conversation I told him with J.K. Dobbins his sophomore year, and he was thinking about dropping out of the business school. And I go, buddy, he goes, man, it's hard. It's a lot of work right now. I go, it is. This is the tough part, man. You're like right in that second year, going to your third, you're getting through some of the stuff, and it's going to be tough. And that's all right. But grind through it. And when you get on the other side, you're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, look at this valley that I just traversed. Now I'm up the hill and like things are good and things are great, and they're trending in the right direction. But if there's no struggle through it, I'm like, dude, does rushing for 200 yards against a team that stinks mean anything? Or does rushing for $110 against the number 1 rush defense in the country, JK, like, which would you rather do? And he nods his head. He's like, exactly. That's just how it is. And so I told the parents, they're like, can you do it? I go, you can. I go, I did it. I still had time to, find my wife and go out and hang out and do all the things you needed to do. These guys are much more serious and better people than me. But yeah, you can have fun. You can play football and you can still be a major at the Fisher College of Business. Like, you go to a good school, I'm sure your grades are good. Like, it just takes effort. Like, that's really all it takes. It's really the secret to life is it's just a little bit of effort. And so it was awesome.
And discipline. It requires a lot of discipline because, obviously at the Woody, and again, now to guys today, they're getting paid. You got classes online. You got to go to Fisher when you go. It's a lot different. But it's like, hey, I can't be worried about what that guy's doing or what that guy chose to do. I just chose to go hard. And it's like, yeah, you're going to reap the benefits of it. And Bob, first off, I just wanted you to articulate what it is that you're telling people, because it's also the competitive advantage that is Ohio State, guys,
Yeah.
that we are in Columbus, Ohio, that our athletes have the opportunities of going to a Fisher College of Business or engineering schools or even the broadcasting and all the different people from that are Buckeyes that are out in the national landscape and in that world. It sets them up for success. But regardless of what it is, you still have to work at it and be a good dude and then also do a good job. It's not just given to you. Nothing is here. And that's kind of the point. And if they think it's going to be easy and they're just going to give you this stuff, like regardless if you're playing or getting an education at one of those type of places that you're talking about and those type of colleges here at Ohio State, like it requires you to go work. So you got to be disciplined to do it, and not say, I want to go out and party or I want to go do this. Like you made a choice to go be elite. Go be elite.
Absolutely. I want to tell you about one of our great partners now over with Backer Schleich. They're a new premium Buckeye apparel gear. They got jackets, they got hats. They're founded. They have elite gear, man. It's premium stuff. It may cost a little more, but the quality is going to be there. If you
charge it to winning,
if you like elite, like hunting, fishing, golf stuff, this is what it's going to be like. The skiing, all of those outdoor stuff, they've designed it around that. So it's going to feel good. It's going to look good. It's going to last. Got tons of great features with it. And for every purchase of it, if you go to the Backer website, it's bckr.com. A portion of those sales is going to go back to the Buckeye student athletes. Use promo code Bobby in all caps for free expedited shipping. So we're going to get it to you right away. Again, that's Backer, bckr.com. Go check them out. All right, Slags, we got some more Buckeye news. I feel like we got so much stuff to get here. Slags, we will get to that. And I want to wish my dad a happy birthday coming up next.
Yes.
All right, so I was down in Las Vegas on Easter, which I feel like I may be going to hell for that. We went down to SmackDown, we went down to WrestleMania, but it was my dad's 70th birthday on Saturday, or on Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 20th. So got a chance to talk to him, FaceTime him, wish him a happy birthday that way. Old Rob Carpenter.
70, dude. 70.
Yeah, it's and it was cool. We were watching at the pool, and I was pulling up some of the clips of him playing so that I could show like my son Caleb, because he's just grandpa now and he's 70 years old. I'm like, Grandpa used to be a dude. Like inside of that old man there, like there was a guy that used to be fast and used to be strong and tough and all of those different things. And just trying to remember that and show them that. And show my kids that is something I always try to do. And so big happy 70th birthday. And that's him with Hasselbeck's dad, Matt and Tim's dad, who played with him with the Giants. And he just passed away tragically of a heart attack, Schleich, which absolutely stinks with everything. So trying to deal with all that and go through it all. Big happy birthday to my pops moving forward.
Yep. Cherish it, man. He's been awesome. Bob, like, look at your brothers, man. Like, you guys all played Division I college football. You had a great role model. He's done. Honestly, here's the other thing too, Bob. As I go back and reminisce about like my dad, who's turning 80, right? Like, I mean, yeah, we're old, man. It's just the fact like they coached for a long time, and not only did they impact us, but they also impacted thousands of other kids.
Yeah,
and that what a legacy. So happy birthday, Coach.
Yeah, it's a big happy birthday to him. He's the one that Schleich always said, if money's all you chase, it's all you ever catch. And so I attribute that to him. It's one of his great lines. I don't even know if he remembers that he told me that. He's like, I never said that. I'm like, well, what do you think? I just made it up and then attribute it to you. If it was that good of a quote that people love, do you think that I wouldn't have just kept it for myself and attributed it to me? But I'm going to give you proper citation for this because you deserve it and you should get it. So we got that. for him. So just wanted to wish him a big happy birthday because we got so much stuff. We got the draft coming up this week, Schlegs, and all kinds of things going. They've got the golf going on again in the shoe this Friday. So they've got that going back in there as well. So many activities, so many different things, so little time. We do have our headlines coming up, Schlegs. We got our prospect preview as well, who are we going to be previewing this week, Pat? Is this a Donovan Jackson situation? We're going to parlay it? Well, who knows? Stay tuned and find out next. All right, now we've got our headlines, Schlegs, which our headlines are brought to you by our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur, they're a full-service ad agency built on trust, strategy, performance. Lake Shield Marketing, they're going to shield you and your team from all the outside noise, the cold calls, and they're going to let you do what you do best, run your business. You can't work in the business and work on the business. With more than 100 years of marketing experience, Lake Spur Marketing eliminates waste and delivers on budget. They don't chase clicks. They build partnerships. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in the partners. All right, the prospect preview today is going to be Donovan Jackson. Just brought him in, talked a little bit to him. Great dude. Schlegs, I think he's got a lot of position versatility. We see him 6'4", 317, fourth-year guy, played a lot of ball at Ohio State. See, he didn't start as a freshman, did he? I know he's a 3-year starter. Yeah.
Probably got time.
But he's a 3-year starter, played a lot, kicked out the tackle, which I think showed people his athleticism.
Yeah.
But he's a really smart guy, as you can obviously tell as we were talking to him. And one of the questions that I found it interesting is, people talked about him potentially playing center at the next level, which I think would be a home run. I was, if I talked to him, like, can you snap it? Can you do it all? Do that? Because if you can just snap it, Schlegs, for him, he's a guy that I think already understands the minutia of the game and everything that's going on around. Because the biggest part, like he said, is you got to be able to make those calls and you got to understand what's going on. And so that's something I think that he's got in his back pocket. Really good at guard. Hey, I've got some position flexibility to kick the tackle, but a lot of guards, can you play center? And so maybe that might be something that's in his future as well.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that's really hard for me, Bob, because they always talk about, at that level, and there's a variety to this, right? If you're a jack of all trades, master of none, you get paid as such. And that's why they like to pay people premium on, hey, I played left freaking tackle. That's what I do. But there's also now in this, right, with a 17-game season, about ready to go to 18-game, having the versatility to play, having somebody that can play at a guard, can go to a center. Do I play at a guard and then make that transition to center as I get a little bit older? I don't know, right? Like he's very intriguing because he has been able to do both at a high level. And when we say high level, remind you, everybody talked in the Tennessee game about Tennessee's pass rush, potentially the best defense in the country, somehow forgetting Ohio State's defense number 1 in the country. Then, and they also played Penn State earlier, right? Boom, real talk. Then you play, Texas and Oregon and all their pass rushes. Then you play Notre Dame. You never had a problem. The 4 of the biggest games at a position that's not his position, absolutely just dominated left tackle. And you're right. He's like, and he wore the same number as Nick Mangold. I have viewed Donnie in that light ever since I first met him. And he is so cerebral. He also knows that I just don't have to be a mauler. Like, just doing my job and doing this is enough. But he's so good at that because he's so big. And he's built a lot like Nick, Bob, like shorter legs, big, long torso. Like he can just squat down and just hold his ground, much like Nick. I think he's going to have a lot of success. The thing to me is, like, again, where is the fit for Donnie so that he can have immediate success? That's what I want to see.
Well, you love, Schlegs, whenever you see the workable height, length, and girth for the NFL trench work, that's key. Control on his sets out there was big at left tackle. He threw out there, willfully throws a punch, keep blockers away from his frame. Initial good quickness, does a good job with angles, smooth on his poles, can climb up to the second level, good on his anchor, works well on stunts, being able to pass stuff off. Pat, let's throw up what they define as some of his weaknesses on here, and Schlegs and I can kind of talk a little bit about that. Because I think Donovan's strong as hell. It says not overpowering. It won't consistently drive or redirect. I think that he's a pretty powerful guy. Now, maybe, especially a tackle, it's a little different than being a guard, so he didn't get a chance to maul as much. Overextends upper half, giving opportunity to pull his weight against him. They call that maybe getting a little head heavy.
Yeah.
Feet can be tardy catching up to his hands, so he's got a quick punch. Can you bring your feet with it? Some false steps, and then, set out, at the beginning of the season, he was injured. And I think it's a function of get healthy. We've got a lot of games to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could have played had the opening game been Texas this year, as opposed to what they had last season.
Donnie is strong. He's strong enough for sure. I think it also goes back to what he was talking about earlier, running zone versus gap. And you're not going to see a lot of those things because it just is do your job, climb to the second level, the timing aspect, that false step stuff. I mean, who's to say that's a false step? Maybe that is the step. I'm just saying, people teach things differently. So those are all very, very minuscule when you go back and just look at the fact the guy doesn't give up pressures. Regardless of it, does he do his job? And that is Donnie. And Donnie, like you said, to your point, the beginning of the year, guys, Donnie could have played. I think Cody even could have played earlier. Remember, guys, college football is different now. We're playing 16 games. I don't need you playing against Western Michigan. I need you getting ready for the season, so pump the brakes.
Absolutely, with that. So Donovan Jackson, very successful career at Ohio State. I think he's going to get drafted as a guard, an interior guy. And with that, I think he'll probably – it's not as high a position value as tackle. I think he'll probably be a guy that goes off the board. I would guess third round. Seems like he's probably in that third round realm, maybe high fourth, possibly low second, but somewhere in that range. I know a lot of people really like him and have had grades that I've talked to somewhere in that realm.
I can see middle of second. I mean, and again, Bob, it all depends on the runs of what happens, everybody. Where do they think they can get a value? They're looking at, just so you guys know, every team is looking at the needs of every team. They know what they are.
Yeah.
Do they want this guy? Would they get up? I just had a run on him. He's the next available guy. He's our kind of guy, our OKG. You know what? Do we want to use this pick with him? Or can we get other value? Who's going to get him next? Can we trade up into the second round to get him and get somebody else with our first pick in the second round or vice versa? Those are all the things that they're going. But again, to me, it's always about fitting opportunity for all of our Buckeyes when I look at the draft.
So the Athletic, they've got him ranked a second round grade, 48th overall, which I think is probably right in that wheelhouse where he would go. Most of the people I talked to, they said second, third round grade, and is an interior lineman. So that's a very good grade for one of those guys as well. You got to be elite to be an interior guy and go in the first round. So a lot of good stuff with our guy, Donnie. Super smart, one of my favorites, and a great representation of what it means to be a Buckeye. Now we've got our tailgate talk coming up next, Schlegs. We'll answer your questions, so fire them away in the chat, Buckeyes. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. Please like, subscribe. Someone's asking how we only have, just a little over 10,000 followers. Well, share it with your friends, get it out there, get it to the folks. We're trying to do the very best we can to keep growing this and bringing in some of the players, trying to get some more guys this week here before the draft. So we'll see what we can do. Buckeyes. And now we got our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Go to realtruck.com, bring your truck, Jeep, or Bronco to life over at Real Truck. And now it's Jeep season, man. I'm gonna drive my Jeep to class this afternoon.
You should do that. Just park right in the front, like
it's
in
great.
the loading zone. Put your hazards on.
Yeah, my kids think I work like 3 hours a day. I was like, dude, I took a red eye back and I haven't stopped working.
Really? Do they say that to your face?
Yeah,
or are
they
you
do.
making this
Your
up?
dad, you work 3 hours a day. I go,
Really?
Yeah, they do.
They say that to you?
Yeah, they are. They're disrespectful. I go, listen, man, I'm always working for you. That's why you get to live the life that I dreamed of living, Caleb. We're sitting here. Caleb's not as bad. It's mostly my daughter, McLean. She's just disrespectful. Phil J has a great question here, though.
Jay, McLean is being disrespectful, so let's smash her next time she comes to the
good. In a positive way.
McLean, in a positive manner. We got her. Yeah. All right, Jay's right here. Exactly. We got her.
Yeah, because you only work 3 hours a day, Dad. What are you talking about? It's easy. What do you think? I go home and eat naps and just sit around and indulge in the excesses of life and stream TV all day?
You got those sugar dipsticks, and you're just just dipping the sugar in there. That's all you do, Dad.
Some illicit rec drugs, hang out, stream some stuff on TV, pass out in the basement. Yeah, why not? That's my afternoon. But Phil J has a great question in the chat. It said, Bob, what's your favorite non-football memory with your dad? And so I want you to think about this too, because your dad was also your coach. So it's always interesting. Probably, I don't know if there's just one.
There's not just one, guys. When you have a dad that's a coach and he's your dad, they're crazy. They're crazy people, bro. So go ahead. I got one. I guess in my mind. The most
impactful one, the one thing I like doing morning radio, I'm doing stuff in the morning, I get done. So my daughter thinks I'm done for the rest of the day. But the one thing you do give up is my dad always drove me to school. I get to drive RJ to his workouts now when he was a freshman. And my dad took me to school every day my freshman year. I rode the bus in middle school, and then before I could drive in high school, he drove me. And it was just those conversations that we would have, like on the way to school, about whether it's not. My dad's a great speaker, maybe not a great communicator with your kid, but now I look back of how hard those conversations probably were for him. But whether it's talking about like girls, being respectful to people, just understanding, like as I started getting older, like playing, like, hey, what it means to do these different things, how you have to represent your family and represent yourself with other people, and making sure that you're doing work early in your life so that you can do things later in your life that you want to do. Mm-hmm. And like those kind of things. And he would take me, to do some speaking engagements, and I probably should start bringing my kids to some of them. And, that's an hour ride in the car sometimes. And like that, we would have a lot of those conversations, and he would talk about his playing days and just life in general and all this different stuff. And so those things were probably the most impactful for me. And they were kind of tangentially related to sports, but it wasn't like him actually coaching me in a sport. It was just really the talks about life. Schlegs, what do you got as yours?
One thing I was actually telling my dad, and it was funny because my kids, we went and saw him because I did the funeral service for my wife's grandmother this last weekend. And he's in town and he's 80 years old, and I'm going to make sure I see him. So we took the family over there, and I don't know how we got on this topic, but one thing that I always respected about my dad, coaching, not necessarily me, but like he drove all of his offensive linemen to colleges that they were looking at, whether they're D3, NAIA, Division I, and it brought up the conversation. It was me and two other guys that were going to go look at the Air Force Academy. They were being recruited to go to play at Air Force. And we drove up there so they could see it. And then we went to the Olympic Training Center and like check that out, right? I'm a meathead. I'm like a little kid at the time, but I love training, okay? All right. But then my dad's like, hey, let's drive up Pikes Peak. I want to My dad was driving like this Buick, like this green Buick. And remember back in like the 80s, now this is like 1990. So, or maybe even 89. So like they had like kind of a plushy seat, right?
Yeah. The velvet. Anyway, oh yeah. Nice and comfortable.
So you're driving up and like, there's a part at Pikes Peak where it's like, like you're past this, like it's treacherous roads and stuff. Well, there's nobody there to like actually stop you for some reason on this day. So my dad's like, yeah, let's go to the peak, right? So we go up there, and then and the other two guys are like visiting, or they're doing like a campus visit, and we couldn't be there. So it's just me and him. Okay. we're driving up this thing. My dad's like, I don't know where it's gonna stop. So he just decides
It's off the mountain.
turn around on the side of Pikes Peak. Like now knowing this later, because I went up all the way one time, you drive all the way up and there's like a roundabout where you drive down. The real question is like, what if you had two cars passing? Like there is no way, like there was no way to like turn around. So hopefully, but anyways, we turn around on this road and I shit you
like a
not,
7-point turn to turn.
Bro, I kid you not. Like if I opened my door, I was dying, right? And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, Dad, what are we doing? He's like, I got this. He's like, okay,
I got this.
Hey, just go out the car and make sure I don't fall off. So then I'm like 10 years old, guys. And I'm like, you got like this far. And I mean, part of the front of the car is like hanging over the edge. No guardrails or nothing. We made it though. He's like, man, don't tell your mom about this. You know, and then like now he's laughing. He's like, I laugh just like him. So he just started laughing with the kids, and my kids are just like, you are just so crazy, Grandpa. You know, and I'm like, yeah, that was real. But it goes back to the point of, I just appreciate that he always served all kids all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and one of my biggest takeaways, I appreciate that about him.
All right. Tremendous. That's it for Tailgate Talk. We got one more question we're going to dive into in our parting thoughts in about the last minute here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, Schlegs, final thought here. And someone threw this in. We talked a little bit about this with Donnie. He goes, can he play center? And I think he can. Like, I think Donovan Jackson may end up being a really good center. He's smart enough to handle it. He's got the aptitude. He understands everything up front. It's just a function of snapping and getting your footwork down. But when you're a guy that's that smart, it's big time ball to be able to play center, because you need those guys. And maybe if he's a guard that can understand it, you have position versatility to slide over there later, that would be tremendous as well. Well, that's it for this edition of the Bobby Carpenter Show. We appreciate you tuning in today. Stay locked in. We'll be back tomorrow with more great stuff.